So we are in what's her name?
Celine.
We're in Celine's room, and Cammy is showing Celine how to the tea, how to make the tea that she's just traded, and just little tips and tricks how she can incorporate this into the into a bar drink or a comfort drink or anything. And
Noodle is laying on like a little chest at the end of the bed.
Yeah, that usually have like a nice cushion on them nowadays.
Yeah, what are those called?
There's got to be a name for
We're
them,
just
right?
gonna
There is
call
a name
it
for
a
them.
chest at the end of the bed.
With a cushion on it.
He's laying on that on his belly, like kicking his little feet up while he's reading his letters. Well, the letters he's carrying for other people.
I would say crucially they are not his letters.
He believes they're his letters for now.
he is the letters keepers, the keeper
Yes.
of the letters temporarily. So
I like to say he's probably also enjoying whatever tea you guys have made with a generous heaping of honey.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. And she's gonna, after she's done, all right, well, that's basically it, but feel free to experiment with different teas and
Okay.
different things. So Noodle.
Yeah.
And I think I love this just real quick because I want to paint that like picture. It is like she says okay, and she looks really excited. She immediately like kind of pulls away and like heads downstairs to get to like where a lot more of the stuff is to start trying things out. And she leaves you guys in the room
Okay.
to give you guys like a moment. She's just excited to try all these different teas.
So any good ones?
Okay. So, somebody's having a baby.
Oh, that's awesome. Good for them. That's awesome. So any other juicy bits you're finding?
Oh. He ruffles through some letters. Here we go. This one's juicy.
Ooh, and she's gonna like scoot forward and kind of like curl up in the way that cats do, like just to get like really close to you. Just be like, okay, all right, tell me.
This lady has like 4 husbands.
Oh no!
And they're all fine with it.
Oh,
They don't mind sharing a wife.
oh, so it's like I don't even know what that would be like. That just sounds exhausting. Dang, like wait, so you know what? I don't know, but still, like how? But why and when? When?
I have so many questions too. That's why I can't stop.
Well, like, is there any more like from that person, or is it just that one? I hate cliffhangers.
Yeah, Noodle gives Cammy this other letter and it reads,
Dear Miranda, you've been dodging my letters, I've been told. This will be letter 27. The 28th will be on its way. Post haste. Now, I send you letters of my affections and my feelings towards you, asking for not much, but a simple depiction of one's old foot.
Oh, Jesus.
I simply
this
wish
guy.
to gaze upon thy toes, thy dwindly little piggies, perched upon some sand, or perhaps on the table. Any medium of lens to view those gorgeous little things will be delightful. Please respond back in haste, and in God's name, protect your feet.
Noodle, you can't deliver that letter. Noodle, you gotta burn that letter.
Calgarius Therulmew III.
That guy's definitely a pug.
He's a pug.
He's a pug.
He's a pug.
I'm afraid to
There's
ask.
drool all over the letter.
For context for our listeners,
the animal.
I own 2 pugs, and they love to lick the feet. So, anyway. The Haith is a beautiful place, and there's plenty of room for foot fetishists among the Haith, but there is no room for sexual harassers.
I want to paint something as well, just because I'm this guy too. The person who's receiving the letters desperately wants the letters. They've been going to the wrong address because he keeps misplacing the actual address, and she's upset that she is not getting these requests.
She's like,
Oh, she's into it.
I have so many drawings of my feet ready for this fucking dude. Where is he?
He told me he'd send me a letter with the return address.
Unbelievable.
Because it's a good place where people's relationships work out.
Uh-huh.
Anyways,
Way to save defeat from the jaws of victory there, Nick. Yeah, let's finish your guys' scene.
Wow, some people are really into paws.
you know, this may be surprising to you,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not as unusual as you'd think.
Wait, are you?
What?
Are you?
Me? No.
Oh,
Wait a
oh,
minute.
Oh, sorry.
No, I mean like.
Sorry, I think I misunderstood.
There just
I
happens to be a
misunderstood.
lot of feet letters.
Oh.
You're like, oh, these are a dime a dozen. These are boring. Every letter I open, I skim for the mention of a foot. And
He's like, he's like, now the tail letters, those get interesting.
They have, like, when you guys go to your board as moth tenders, there's, like, check marks for, like, the unique stuff of what they've seen lately.
Oh wait, so everyone reads their letters?
I love that idea.
Like they're not supposed to, but they do it anyway.
I like the idea that nobody in the Haith sends a letter thinking it won't be read.
Correct.
They're like, yeah, I mean, the moth tenders, they read the letters. Whatever. I got to get my letters to my people.
Yeah. I also think it's part of, like, I don't think it stems so much from, like, nosiness. I think that's part of it, certainly. I think it is generally, like, if you're a moth tender, you love letters. And it doesn't really matter what the content is, even if it's something you've read a million times. It's that idea, right? Of, like, giving an idea to someone across the ways using the written word is
Ooh.
very
actually-
beautiful to them.
I have an interesting idea of how to characterize this. What if, because like addresses are a pretty developed thing,
Oh, yeah.
right? What if there aren't addresses, but it's like there's, like people know what town they want the letter to go to, right?
Mhm.
What if by reading these letters, the moth tenders have a better idea of how to find these people?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very
That's what I was
good.
thinking.
It like forms a connection with the person who the letter was written by and who it's intended for. And I think that the moth tender is able to convey that to the moths, who then
Yeah.
do their
I love that even if it's like a little magical, I love the idea that like maybe the spirit of moths like literally paints like a portrait in their mind of the person who it's supposed to go to.
I like that.
And it's very vague.
It's like, see, guys, we're not doing federal crimes, okay?
Yeah.
We're doing what we have to do to give people their letters. So.
But I totally think there are people like Noodle who thrive on just
Oh, yeah,
getting in the
Noodle's just like,
business.
The drama.
I have to do this. I mean, it's part of
This,
the job.
this is his reality show.
There's one moth tender out there who's like, I fucking hate reading these letters.
Hey, you might as well love what you do.
Exactly.
Love what you do and do what you love, man. Oh
And
God.
hopefully they're the same person. No, I'm just kidding. Oh god.
There's a pug with a fucking foot in its mouth, like, "Amen, brother." Okay. Do you guys want to do anything more with that scene, or should we move on? What should we do?
We'll just finish off with Noodle hands another letter to Cammy, and then there's this pudding guy.
Oh.
Dan's got this.
And some things are better left
Zoom
unsaid.
out.
Damn it.
Yeah, and that where Cammy goes, like we get a shot of Cammy, like a reverse shot of her like reading it, and like her eyes start moving faster, and it's just like, oh,
Oh.
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 Yeah.
And, yeah, the camera just kind
It
of
like
pulls
out of the window.
Yeah. Yeah, what is Brand doing?
I think it is middle of the night. I think I had walked over to Kith's much earlier
Mm-hmm.
than I ended up actually making my way towards Kith's. I think it was like a straight shot 2 blocks, and I have now slithered all of my way across Bourbon, just kind of taking in the scenes.
What do you see? What kind of things do you see?
I think I look into the water, and I kind of dunk my head in, and I see like a bunch of like a crocodile family just like kind of swimming around and like tossing around like a wiffle ball made out of wood.
It's just it's a porous rock.
Yeah, it's a porous rock, correct. And they're just like tossing it around and flicking it with their tails, and they're like, telling me
Booping it with their nose.
yeah, evening, and I tip my head evening.
The father, I think, just looks at you and says, "Evening, sir." And you say evening back.
Evening.
And the little kid Goes, Happy Armistice Day, mister!
Happy Armistice Day, little one.
Strength for the rebellion forever, brother! And he's like, now, Jebediah, calm down.
I think I grimace. Like, I think just like pure physical reaction, I'm just like, and I wonder if the dad notices.
He definitely does. And I think the dad pegged you as not from here instantly, right? And he was like, my apologies on the boy's behalf. He is, he has the zealotry of his mother, let's say.
There's not wrong with being zealous for peace.
I'll second that. His brother gone in the war. It's nice to have something to celebrate these days. He says, my apologies, sir. I don't mean to steep you in my troubles.
I think he's like, thank you kindly. I'm sorry for your loss. Losing a child's never easy. And we've all suffered some losses at our age. But we can only use them to go on further. And if you don't mind my saying, yeah, you new young one got enough energy to be worth 3 of your children.
He both grimaces and smiles at that a little bit. He smiles with the love of his son that is still, with him, but feels very much the pain of, like, no one can ever be replaced, in a very real way. And he says, I'll tell you what, you do me a favor. You go on down to Kith. You give him an offering for me. You tell him that Josiah said, hello, you old bastard. Haven't made my way down there in some time. Been awful busy with work, like. Kith will be happy to hear from me.
Oh.
You do that for me.
Y'all have a funny way of pointing people to the direction they need to go, don't you?
Oh, we down here have a way of knowing where people need to be. And oftentimes it's where we need to be. And as he says that, the ball whacks him. And it's like, Dad, come on. I'm playing with you, Dad. You got to watch for the ball. It's like, I'm okay, Jebby. I'm sorry. Hold on.
And I think I'm sure he's about to turn and like just tell me like a good salutation's off. I think floating there is like a shot of the fire ant Brandy. And I've already turned and left and just left him a shot on a lily pad.
That's very good. He looks at it and smiles this giant toothy grin.
Yeah.
And we'll cut to you on your way.
What
else do you see? I have something that you definitely see, but I'm curious what else.
I think on my way, I think I'm underwater for a while. I can hold my breath for a good bit, not forever, obviously. And I think absentmindedly, I kind of poke back up a little ways away from Bourbon. And I think it's a very emotional scene because I realized that I poked my head out around all of the lanterns with names on them. And I think there's like a scene of like yours floating by, but I don't notice it. To be more specific, sorry. Not yours, Devold's.
Devold's, yeah.
Devold's floats by, and I don't notice that. But I think I float there for a while, and I think it's very emotional for Brand. And I think there's a scene of like a zoom in on his face, and he is like pretty much looks like the way gators are shown, right? He's mostly underwater, but a lot of his body's floating upwards. And I think as they pass by him, and he probably sits there for a while, he's verbalizing under the water like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it's not from a place of guilt necessarily. I think it is so humbly from a place of respect and knowing responsibility, and less so like he wants something out of it.
It's like atonement ultimately. Yeah, I think you do that, and you watch as those lanterns go by. We get this very clear shot of the ripples in the water distorting your reflection, and it's like you can't get a clear look at yourself, and the lanterns keep coming by, and I think off in the distance, as you're making your way towards Kith, you see a giant circus tent kind of propped up amongst this sort of makeshift raft, and on top of the raft is this giant tent that hangs open, and you can see a bunch of people dancing inside. and they're all wearing really, really extravagant masks, and they're all doing kind of like it's not quite square dancing. It's like
I'm very much imagining like almost spiritual, like there's a pattern to it, but there's like definitely a semblance of like looking up and like spreading yourself as you dance.
yeah, there's definitely like common dances that everybody here knows and that they're engaging in. It's like I said, it's akin to square dancing, but it's not as like
Robotic and mechanical.
yeah. I was trying to think of a nicer way to say goofy. It's not as oh my gosh, there is a word for this and it's bothering me. It's not as jaunty
Yeah,
as
okay. That
square
makes
dancing.
sense.
It's much more closer to like a synchronized tango.
Yeah, it's a little more graceful, right?
Graceful is a great way to put it. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little more graceful. And that's happening off in the distance, which is a place you could go. There is also, numerous musical acts performing along the boulevards. I think it's like literally like there's a person, sitting down playing a guitar, and then literally like 50 feet away, there's another person sitting down playing like this like old beaten up piano. And it's like they are quite literally exactly 50 paces apart. Like this is like city ordinance, like 50 feet between buskers.
I think there's a very funny scene here of cutting to like Bran seeing that long path of performers on his way to Kits. And I think there is a very fun time dilation of like an overhead camera view. And you can see where Brand has been, and he's visiting all of them because they keep calling him over and he doesn't know how to tell them no. And like you can tell where he's been because the rest of his body is still at like the other two in the back. And like it's just cuts to him like zigzagging between them. And I think like it's cuts to like skipping frames of his face and he's getting like progressively more tired. But there's also something else there of like his jaw is a lot more loose. He looks tired, but there's like wrinkles in his cheeks where like he's just been smiling listening to these performers. They've all been incredibly friendly, and I love the idea that they keep like giving him something, small recreations of their instrument.
You definitely get a pin or two.
Yes, a lot of that. I don't just want to say beads because Bourbon already does that.
You get pamphlets with their song lyrics on them.
There we go. That's something I want. Yeah, something that represents their music.
A guy writes you a poem on the spot.
That's very cool.
And Dan will insert audio of a poem that he actually wrote right now. It is a good night to be at the edge of the world, at the end of all things. Here there are only friends and ourselves, and who is to say that we could not be friends to ourselves? I write these words with the blood of fallen kin, not to tell of tragic end, but to celebrate the lives they lived, to drink in this night air with a stranger and fall in love with this life all over again. The water holds their names, in visage and in soul, us alongside them together, ever together, always united in our endeavors. The many forgotten gods listen closely this night, stranger, so tell them your worries. Unburden your bags at their door, let them inhale your troubles, breathe deep the folly of your mortality, and watch as they exhale the truths you already hold close. It is a good night to be here, to be alive, to look at the ripples in the water side by side and be okay with imperfection, to understand life is in the ironing of those wrinkles, in the smoothing of those fault lines, in the small moments in the by and by. It is a good night, stranger, and I thank you for sharing it with us. May the sun rise on a better world than it set, always and forevermore. Good job. That was a awesome poem, future me. You really nailed Bran's essence there.
I think the poem especially, he like wraps and puts in his satchel, and then I think he finally gets over to, he thanks them all, he's very polite with each of them, and I think I get over to Kits.
I think what I want, and you can recharacterize this, right? Because this is a very intentional thing you're painting of Brand really taking his time to get to Kith.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea that when you feel ready to get there, you turn a corner and he's just kind of leant up against a post.
Yes.
But it's not like he's sitting there like, I was waiting for you. It's like he's sitting there and he's smoking a pipe and he's like having a conversation with that otter that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
And he has his hand on top of him on his like shoulder. And is you can tell he's speaking to him, that what he's saying is very, very like resolute and you know, what's the word I'm looking for here? I mean, empathetic, like you said. You can tell he's really in the middle of saying things to him. And the otter kind of, you know, wipes away a tear and nods and gives Kith a big hug and drops a little offering in a tin can that.
Oh, nobody drops off.
What does he drop?
He's an otter. It's his favorite rock, a smooth rock.
Nice.
I love to imagine that people are very good about like paying, but not through currency, right? It's like something that means something to me for what you've given me.
Yep. That is very much how I would characterize it. And Kith sees you coming, and I think it occurred to me that if I was going to cast this role, he would definitely be voiced by James Earl Jones. Just this kind of deep, you know, old wisdom in his voice. And he says, as you start to approach, he said, "You know, I was beginning to wonder when you might slither my way."
And I think there's a very nice shot of like the progression of time of like those golden rays are gone. The sky is that like, because of course it's like a gorgeous blue, with like streaks of green and purple. Yeah, it's a very nice full moon. It's a developed night, and time has passed, and Brand pulls out the jug of water, and I think there are still 3 little small pieces of remnant ice that have managed to stay there, just in time to start disappearing by the time I get to Kith.
Kith sticks his hand out and says, "You got more water for me?"
I do. I also got a note from someone for you, and I put the water on his palm.
He moves his thumb along the paper, and he goes, "That Josiah, you know, he could have delivered this himself, and he knows that. And I think he's just doing a funny on me." And he kind of shakes the water cup, and he goes, "Oh, Jonas really skimping it on the ice these days, huh?" And he takes a huge gulp. "Oh, that's mighty fine water."
And I take a drink of my fire ant brandy.
He says, "What can I do you for?"
You said, I won't question things. Will be more affirmative than I may have previously considered. I want to do right by you in any feasible way you could imagine. It's not something I am responsible to. It's not something that I'm put to by anyone. It's something that I feel I want to do from something in me. This damn thing, maybe. And he points at the horn on his back.
He kind of like takes another sip of the water and drains the glass and sets it down. He goes, "Well, I mean, right ways as I can tell, you done plenty by me. Let me ask you this, friend. Will you leave Bourbon in a better place than you found it? Can you do that?"
Bourbon got a real funny knack of asking hard to answer questions.
Has a way of making you look at yourself. How many places have you left better for your presence?
It's up to me, not many. But if Chamomile were here, she'd be telling me to try better and really think about what I've done. I think I left home better than how I got there. And I think Josiah is going to help me to leave here better than what I came. Noodle got a little drunk, and that certainly puts a light in my day that is not what I had when I got here. I can't help but see the consequences of my past here, though. And I don't know if I even meant to escape it. Feels like I'm coming to deal with it.
He sits down in a chair outside of I like to picture you guys standing under a street lamp.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this little like almost like a little public bench. And he kind of sits down and he goes, "I reckon that the consequences you're referring to are, well, they're tangled, friend. There's a lot of blood on a lot of folks' hands, and blame's never as simple as the history books might like to imply. I think all you can do is try. Your friend Cammy seems to have the right idea. You go through this world, and you put a smile on people's faces. You make sure that they don't stray from their path, that they don't hurt nobody. You make sure people stay safe. I think that's all the redemption that any of us could hope for. And he looks at you, and you really feel as though, despite the fact that he is, for all intents and purposes, blind, he is seeing you. And he says, guilt don't help nobody. Guilt is for you. Leave it, because you can. And he pushes his can towards you, and he goes, you can leave it right here if you like. I'll hold on to it for you.
I'll tell you what, kid. I can't leave all of it. I think you're right. It's tangled and it's a damn hard mess. And what kind of man would I be if I left a mess of knots for a blind man to undo?
You'll find that those that can't see might have a better knack for that. Besides, I ain't got not but time. But you know, I don't like to take all from folk. You give me what you can. You come back to me. Yeah?
I'll be passing through again on our way back. I'll let you know how I'm doing. And for now, I'll leave you what I can. And I think in the bucket, he puts the half of the fire ant brandy that he was drinking.
Can I make a different suggestion?
Absolutely.
I think you reach into your backpack.
Oh, yes.
And you tear off a piece of that standard.
Mm-hmm.
And you put it in there.
Yes.
That's very good.
Standard?
Yes, Brienne, you ask a perfect question. The standard that we are referring to is that Brand carries with him it's like a flag, more or less. Like a rallying flag for the Empire, the oppressors, a banner, yes. That's torn and stained and really fucked up. And so, yeah, he tears off a piece of that, his kind of physical, tangible guilt. And leaves that with Kith.
You're a proddy old man.
I'm a man who likes for people to rest easy. And often folks don't volunteer what keep them from doing that. I'll tell you this, friend. The weight of empire weighs heavy on us all. But there's no empires anymore. Just us folk.
I think with that, long live the peace.
Long live us all, brother. And he sort of puts his cane on the ground and starts to push himself up. And he goes, I reckon these old bones need to be getting to bed. Come on, Benjamin. I briefly forgot his scorpion's name. And he sits there and waits very patiently. And you just start hearing these like tiny little taps. And then I think you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel
absolutely.
it along your back as it runs up the length of your back and jumps off your head.
Yeah.
Into Kith's hand, and he goes, he's using you like a playground.
You'd be surprised how many times animals take a liking to me.
There's a lot of you to like, I reckon.
Oh, I hope that isn't a play on my weight, friend.
He walks, and as he kind of turns to leave, he puts his hand on you, and he goes, there's a lot about you to like, my friend.
Someone so much smaller than me, I think there's more even to appreciate from you. You do mighty fine work around here, Kith.
And he pats you on the chest, and he goes, hope so, it's my only job. and he just kind of starts easily sauntering off.
Celine sends her thanks.
He goes, you tell her to keep bothering that old dad of hers. It's mighty funny when he rumble roar.
I gotta find Saffron. He's probably gonna like that dance place. And I think I go off and I try to find Saffron, but I think I go back to the bar.
Okay.
And nobody's there.
Yeah, it's towards the end of the night. I don't know where anyone is. I think I'm just gonna spend my time finding people. What's funny is I'm incredibly easy to find because I'm just a long ass snake.
Yeah, I think this is actually, instead of you aimlessly going back to the bar, I think you turn around and you see Devold and Saffron walking up, and Saffron's like, "Oh man, that last one went so freaking fast, Devold. Do you remember? Do you remember how fast it went?" And you see Devold, his fur is like blown back, and like his ears are like tucked behind, like are like tucked down like along his back, and he's just like, "Yeah, I was there. Yep, I was there."
Is his face like just completely white, whereas he's like
Yes.
he's like feeling a little motion sickness.
Yes, exactly. He's like you can see he's really favoring his walking stick. And like Jacob keeps trying to get him to ride on him. He's like, "No, not now, Jacob, not now. Oh, not now." God, it's so hard to get out of gravelly Southern and just into gravelly.
Yeah. I don't envy your your position.
Predicament.
And he goes, Brand.
Devold, you've been going quick, I see.
Yeah, apparently Cammy promised me to watch over the boy while he went on some rides, and he asked that I guide him along those, and so I did.
I look at Saffron, narrow my eyes, the boy said you offered to take him.
Saffron like looks at Devold and looks back at Brand and is like, look, it's really easy to there's a misunderstanding really at the end of the day.
His ears absolutely go down and his tail kind of tucks.
Yes.
And he does those puppy dog eyes.
He's like,
because he knows he's caught.
Well, I was really bored at the bar, and so I knew you would take me, Devold. Like you did. You said you would take me, and you did take me. It's like, yes, I said I would take you after you told me Cammy said I would take. It's like, but you did say it though. You said that you would take me.
Saffron.
What? It's true.
Listen. I don't know about Devold, but I'm not gonna tell your sister nothing. Because truth be told, she's gonna skin you alive if she finds out that you lied to not only her, but also Devold.
Devold looks at Saffron and goes, "I'm not carrying her stuff. So I have a vested interest in you staying alive." He says that, and he like kind of hobbles over and puts a hand on Saffron's shoulder. He goes, "You get one." And Saffron goes, "Yes, sir, Devold, sir." He's like, "You don't gotta lie to me, okay? I'll take you wherever you want to go. It's my job. Just ask. Just ask. You know, worst I can say is no." He goes, "Yeah, that sucks though. When people say no, it sucks. I hate it."
If he says no, Saffron, then ask me. I ain't got much better to do right now.
Okay.
You got two people here. One's to show you the way. One's to keep you safe. You got options.
Thanks, guys.
Wants to keep you in line.
He goes, not that I'm like scared or anything, but like it's late and like it's dark and like I'm not scared, but like I just wonder where Cammy is.
We should be finding a place to rest for the night.
Okay, cool. And he reaches out and takes Devold's hand again.
I think Devold and Brand look at each other and just kind of like smile and shake. I smile and shake my head.
Devold shrugs, which is a thing that Devold can always do.
Yes. All I ask, Saffron, is don't put me in a position to lie anymore. I don't do that anymore.
And,
which is something I can always say.
Yes. And Saffron says, "Yes, sir, Mr. Brand, sir, I'm sorry. Very sorry."
Show it, don't say it.
And he...
Oh, God.
He immediately drops and shows you his belly.
I rub it.
His foot starts kicking. And he's like, thank you for forgiving me. That's awesome. That's really nice of you.
Was that what that... I'm going to have to keep that in mind.
And he like rolls up and he's like, "Okay, let's go find Cammy. Oh, I have so much to tell her. I'm going to tell her about the rides. I'm going to tell her about all the cotton candy I ate. I'm going to tell her about how I threw up on Devold." And he's like, "Let's maybe not relive that."
The goldfish.
It's definitely like, again, that fading voices thing.
Yes. Like, "Oh, man. And I'm going to tell Cammy that our goldfish died. And she's going to be so sad about it." And it's like, he may not be dead, you know.
Noodle and Chamomile, do you guys have a parting scene?
I think we kind of like wrapped up, packed up our stuff, and headed back down. Because we're not just gonna sit in her room; they'll never find us. I was just thinking she'd probably suggest to the best place to find Saf would be around the carnival games. Like, she'd probably end up near the games somewhere.
Yeah, so yeah, you guys walk up and you're sharing the weight of a gigantic pack that is overladen with books and boxes of tea and honey. And Saffron sees you and goes, "Oh man, sis, did I forget the pack again? I'm so totally sorry about that. Oh, I was just so excited to go to the rides."
I know. You're excited to go to the rides.
He goes, Duval took me just like he said he would. And he like looks at Duval, and Duval goes, "Yeah, I did. We had a good time."
You didn't get sick again, did you?
Oh, I definitely for sure got super sick on him.
Oh gosh,
He was okay with it though. He didn't mind Han Duval.
she's gonna look over at Duval, and she's gonna kind of just mouth, "Sorry."
And Duval goes, "It's par for the course."
Brand is dying.
It's certainly not the first time someone lose their lunch on me. Probably not the last either.
It's a good thing we're in a swamp, Devald. Can't smell you at all.
Might need to take a trek through old Ponder again. Get a little of that lavender on me. Maybe I'll tell the bartender. Bartender I'm coming through there to get perfume you like.
There we go.
Oh, I love that.
Anyway, Devald, you know where we can stay the night?
Can I do something?
No.
Absolutely not.
Boys rule, girls drool.
Yeah, you suck.
Yeah, what do you want to do?
So, my something you can always do is know someone who can help.
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm thinking maybe she might recognize someone who might have gone to the inn or something and been able to, get directions from a local.
Or maybe someone stayed in your town, which we still need to name. Maybe someone stayed in your town and they were like, I actually own an inn in Bourbon. If you're ever passing through, you come through and I'll return the favor. You come stay at my inn. It's called Mine, and it's spelled Mine. It's my inn. You get it? You get it?
Oh no, I get it.
He's like a penguin, and he's like poking his head at you. He's like, "Do you get it?"
She's gonna back out. She's like, whoa,
In the
I get it.
swamp,
I get
love
it. I get it.
He's like, "Okay, cool." So most people don't get it. It's really frustrating. They don't got much love for puns down there. But
Oh well, that's a darn shame.
yeah, it's a crying shame. It's a crying.
I think I might take
She's
my
gonna
chance.
pat his shoulders.
He like kind of like looks confused. He's like, "Wait, I don't know if that's even a pun there."
It's okay.
That's more wordplay,
Yeah.
if that.
Yeah. Oh, hello, big snake man. I didn't know you were here.
Oh yeah, he we travel together, right? And then she's gonna kind of like elbow him.
Hard to miss me.
He has eyes on either side of his head. He's like, these peoples don't do me no good sometimes.
Right down the blind spot.
Right there, and he makes a little with the chopping motion with his fin.
Yeah. Don't worry. I sometimes lose track of my body.
He goes, "Anyway, y'all are welcome here for the night. We got beds and we got drinks. So we got freaking Liam's here, and he's gonna play a DJ set. It's gonna be really cool." And you see in the corner a giant fucking bird guy. And he has this like really weird contraption of it's like a tangle of like vines and rocks and a bark, and he just starts like banging them together, and it starts making this weird kind of thumping beat, and you see the vines start to like kind of glow and pulse, and they're like pushing energy through him, and he's essentially doing folksy techno. He's like he leans forward conspiratorially, does this innkeeper whose name is Whatnick. Actually, no, Brienne knows him. What's his name?
Gerald.
A lot of just sounds over here. Gerald leans forward and goes, no one really likes it, but it's nice to let the boy do his thing,
Hey, the big bird guy.
Yeah.
What kind of bird is he?
He is,
Because I have an idea.
Okay, go ahead.
I think he's a big ass vulture.
Oh yes.
Okay, sure.
There's something very cool about the big bald headed vulture guy. pumping out techno.
just absolutely getting down.
Yeah, getting down to techno.
He grabs what is essentially like a megaphone, which is just like a hollowed out piece of wood that's like kind of funneled, and goes like, "What the fuck is up, my inn?"
How many people are in here?
There's like 3 people milling about drinking coffee,
And us at the door?
yeah, and he's like, the war might be over, but we're gonna do some battle here tonight. Let's fucking go! And he starts like fucking hard style, like boot, 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 throwing his arm around, his wings around, and
It's
like,
so bad that I'm imagining the SpongeBob thing. Doo 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 boo doo.
yes, exactly. He's like fucking shuffling behind the table.
Oh my god.
He's like, yeah, this guy gets it, and he points at Brand.
Yeah, I think my tail is like unconsciously kind of going with the beat. That's part of my nervous tick.
And you just see like an old like wrinkly walrus dude like sipping coffee at a table like right next to what is essentially the sound system, just
Yeah.
like, oh, Liam, give it a rest.
Oh, and in the crowd there is like another like crow gentleman in the crowd who is like ultra supportive of their partner.
Yes.
And he is just like, what's the name of the son? Or not the son, but I guess whoever this guy is.
Who?
The bird?
The person, the vulture. What's his name?
His name's Liam.
His name's Liam.
Okay. The person in the crowd's like, Liam, you're doing so good. You keep it up.
He's like, fuck yeah, babe, I know it.
Can I imagine him like bobbing? You know how birds like they
I
bob?
think he's such a supportive partner that he is like bobbing his head but missing the beat because he doesn't get it. He's missing the beat so bad.
but
He's
he's
clapping.
trying his best.
Yes.
He's clapping on the 1s and 3s.
Yes.
And I think there's one person in the crowd who is like this like a tabby cat.
Mm.
And it's like clearly an older woman, and she's doing the thing that all old white ladies do, where she's like
Oh, like snaking their hands.
snaking
and, like,
their hands and like kind of shaking her hips, like
yeah.
very inappropriately and like weirdly. And Liam's like, "Yeah, Mrs. Anderson, you get it. Feel the rhythm." It's just this fucking tiny like Holiday Inn. Oh, what a fucking wild world we've made. He goes, anyway, there's a noise curfew at 11:30, so you don't got to worry about that going on into the night. Here are the keys to your room. Y'all stay as long as you like.
Thank you
Thank
so
you kindly.
much.
He goes, thank you for coming.
Um,
He goes, keep it up, Liam. We're all rooting for you, bud. He goes,
They're also supportive.
and Liam goes, thanks, Dad.
it's so cute.
Aw.
Somewhere there's a vulture mom.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way that we characterize Liam is that he's just sort of like he has the size of a vulture but the girth of a penguin.
Yes.
And he just is absolutely going so fucking hard.
I also love the idea, like when he's about to start those beats, or like when he's trying to pump the crowd, like they're vultures. They have like nuts wingspans, right?
Yes.
So like when he like does his arms out wide, it is like wall to wall, and
Yes.
him like in the corner, like yeah, and it's kind of imposing, like when he
Yeah.
raises his hands.
Mhm.
But it's very cool, like when against the lights.
Yes.
What's the name of his? What does he call himself?
Oh man. DJ Le apostrophe I am.
I am.
He is the
Oh.
I am, but also Liam.
I
DJ
also-
Liam.
What is I also like the Beat Scavenger.
Well, that's good too.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he has multiple names for himself,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. I think he literally like switches it out.
I
Or-
think it's like in Game of Thrones where it's like, you know, King of the First Men and the Andals and the Servant of the Realms. It's like, yeah, what's up, everybody? I'm DJ I am, you know, the fucking Beat Scavenger, Smash Schmaggler, fucking Beat Strangler. Let's go.
Yep.
And someone's just like, oh, Liam, shut up, Mr. Anderson. Your wife gets it. She's like, come dance with me, honey. He's like, you can't dance to this. It's noise. It's just noise, just raucous. Oh, you're so old.
My wife's deaf. She just likes the feeling of the wood bouncing.
Mrs. Anderson couldn't hear a bus coming.
She likes the base of it. It like
Oh, yeah, I think that's
makes
the-
her fur stand up on end.
She feels it through her whiskers.
Yeah.
She feels it through her little toe beans.
Mhm.
Oh, toe beans.
Good. Any other thing there?
No, I
Because
think...
I do have an ending scene that I'd love to paint.
Yes, please do.
I think it is us kind of looking at each other. Do you guys think we stay in like separate rooms, or do you think we're fine just bunking?
I think we all bunk together.
Yeah.
I think what it is he says, like, here's the key to your room. And we open the room and it's like gigantic.
Yeah.
It's
And
a suite.
yeah, and it's like, oh man, like you didn't realize this, but Gerald gave you the key to like the best room.
Oh, that's nice.
And yeah, that's Southern hospitality, man.
Yeah, and I think it is. It's like a scene of us, like, it's through the doorway. We open that door and like we're all checking out the room. I think it's Saffron bolting in, like, whoa, look at all this cool stuff.
He definitely
And,
starts jumping on the bed.
And like we see that, and like then the sky is like that very deep dark. And I think we pull out through that window, looking at that deep dark night, and we start turning a bit, looking back at Bourbon from above. And like lights in the town starts to turn off until it gets to Ponder. This lights get to Ponder, and we kind of pull in a little bit, and we see Sandra and Jonas kind of like, oh, it's time for another day of bed, and it's been a good day. And like they let the last people out, the doors get closed, and like flip the close sign, right?
The last person that he lets out is the gazelle he yelled at earlier.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm sorry, Brian. You know you're welcome here anytime. And he goes, but seriously, just you let me and my wife argue. It's all love.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, sure, okay.
I think he leaves and he closes the thing. I think there's a tender moment between Sandra and Jonas. Celine is already, I think Celine literally knocks out at a desk on her table with the tea bags like on her left side. And like her face has like some tea dust on it.
I like the idea that there's like a note with a bunch of recipe ideas
Yes.
that she has. Like tea plus Fruity Pebble ?
And I love that it is Sandra makes her way off to bed. Jonas turns off the lights, and I think we pull away from Ponder. And then I think immediately the sun crests over the hill just a tiny bit, and Jonas turns the sign back over, and the city bounces back to life like
my
immediately.
Oh, that's so fucking good.
And like people are like, it's like a whole new shift of people just start rounding back.
I have one addendum to that.
Yes.
Which is, he turns off the light, and this, for a moment, the city is completely quiet, right? Just total quiet, calm. You just hear the soft kind of rippling of the water. A couple people, like that alligator family is ambling through, right? People cresting through the water. And off in the distance, a fireworks show happens.
Yep.
It just goes for a couple minutes, and Jonas stands there and watches as Armistice Day is really celebrated in full, and you hear people out in that circus tent kind of like, yeah, like, long live the peace, that kind of
There's
stuff.
definitely nocturnal animals that would love to be up in that circus right now.
Yes, exactly. It's full of fucking possums. It's full of fucking possums in there. Dan hates possums for reference. Anyway, the fireworks go off and kind of wreaths the town in that shifting light. And Jonas kind of looks off and takes a deep breath, and then the sun crests and he flips the sign, and a bunch of people come out, just like you say, Nick. And the next day starts.
Yep.
And someone comes in, and like the first person that comes in is a different gazelle.
Yeah.
Can I get a version? We don't sell virgin stuff here, man.
Immediately, like,
You got
just
the wrong
callbacks.
place.
Yeah, and I love the idea that like the sound that starts to wake the sound up is Celine's tea hitting the kettle and like starting to steam out, and like almost like a morning whistle. And then like that guy he turns the sign over, and then the gazelle comes in.
Here's what it is, right? Here's what it is. I like that we just compete for the best ending moment.
It's so good though. It's such a very good ending.
Yes. What it is we have that moment of Jonas watching the fireworks, and the camera pans into Celine's room, and she wakes up, or it pans into the kitchen rather. And a sleepy Celine is kind of like rubbing her eyes and puts a teapot and leaves, and the teapot starts to steam, and it makes that whistling sound. And I think if this was a TV show, music would start to swell underneath the whistle and start to harmonize with the whistle, and it would slowly become the outro anime theme song.
Yes.
And then that's when
all the talking picks up.
Yeah, you hear the kind of muffled like, Yeah, can I get a virgin? Like, we don't do virgin stuff here, man. You know,
Just serve the man a virgin.
it already smells girly in here. We're not gonna, you know.
Another guy, another voice in the back, like, wow, I really like the way this place smells.
Like, yo, I bet you do.
Sandra's just gonna be like, damn right they do.
And yeah, the camera pulls out, and I think we get a beautiful, beautiful sunrise in Bourbon as all of our characters are dead asleep.
Yeah, against all of this noise.
Yeah, and we will end it there. Thank you so much for listening to We Like the Idea, a show where we the only competition is who can end the episode better, and we all win. We will be back in the future with more Wanderhome. Hope you guys liked it, and take care. Love you. Mwah, bye.
Bye.
This is the post-credit scene.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there's like a brief like kind of shuffling as like Liam is like cleaning up his stuff, and Mr. Anderson comes up and he goes, "Keep trying, Liam." And he goes, "Oh, you mean it, Mr. Anderson?" He's like, "Yeah, you can. Maybe I'll let you play at Alan's birthday party." Really? Maybe.
You think they'll let me play at Brett's?
You think they'll let me play at Brett's next? He's like, you go ask him that. He goes, I will. I'll go right now. And you just see him running off to Brett's.